Today is the big day.
This is it. We talked about it in our first ever video.
Yep.
And thanks to Tubby Mora, who won our 750 subscriber video contest.
One of them.
We're finally going to review this game. It was a launch title with the Wii U. It's something that we both played, and you'll find out if we enjoyed it. And that game is... Let's take a look.
ZombiU was developed by Ubisoft as a launch title for the Wii U. The game was designed to make full use of the gamepad controller, a sort of tech demo that also involved jump scares in a zombie-infested United Kingdom.
ZombiU, despite receiving its fair share of positive reviews, sadly never reached a profitable point for Ubisoft, and plans for a sequel were quickly squashed. For a launch title game, this is quite surprising to me, as there weren't that many other choices for new Wii U owners. The question is, was ZombiU not the right game for gamers, or were the gamers not right for ZombiU? Let's find out and get into the story.
ZombiU takes place in London after a zombie plague has devastated the city. You start off being a lone survivor walking along the streets when a voice from a camera directs you to a subway station safe house. From there, the story is pretty much stay alive, find supplies, and kill disease.
Now, long before the plague hits London, it is prophesied by a man named John Dee. However, no one listens except for a few followers of his teachings and one eccentric man who takes the time to prepare for the upcoming disaster. It is this man, known only as the Prepper, who will be a guiding hand and aid throughout the game via two-way radio.
A first-person game set in a desolate city where your only guide comes in the form of a mysterious man over a radio? Weird. I figured that idea would have been done before.
Well, so the story isn't the most original, but it certainly does hold up, especially for a survival horror game.
Whoa now, would you kindly explain what you mean not original? Waking up all alone in a deserted town that is now inhabited by flesh-hungry monsters? I'm quite certain that I've not come walking across the premise of that in the 28 days it took us to write this script.
Wow. Are you done being facetious now?
Yes.
Well then, let's talk about the gameplay.
ZombiU is a survival horror game that is played in the first-person perspective. You walk the streets of London, armed with a cricket bat as well as your generic firearms found in all first-person shooting-type games.
Now, the combat itself is where ZombiU receives most of its bad reviews, but I personally had the opposite experience. This argument comes up the most in regards to the cricket bat, but this was my weapon of choice throughout 95% of the game or so. Growing up on the Resident Evil and Silent Hill franchises taught me to conserve my ammo and healing items unless absolutely crucial, but I rarely ever found the need to use my firearms, of which I had stored up a lot of ammunition for. The fact that most people found the bat unusable baffles me, and I have to say that I have to disagree with these reviews.
I'm in the same boat. Being an FPS virgin, I found the bat to be a huge asset as it didn't require me to try and aim too much. As well, I had the DLC which gave me neat graphics on it. Nothing was quite so satisfying as hearing the crunch of the wood against a zombie's skull. I didn't even mind the over-the-top screams that my character would make while swinging for the fences like Sir Don Bradman.
Who? Did you Google a famous cricket player?
Maybe. In conjunction with your small arsenal, you are also equipped with a scanning device known as the Prepper Pad. This is where the gamepad comes into play. You use this item to scan the environment for items and Z's, as well as it becomes your mini-map, inventory control, and is used in some touch-enabled in-game items.
This was a perfect use for the gamepad, and Nintendo knew it, which is why when you think back to the E3 before it was launched, it was mostly this game you've seen being shown off. In fact, I'm hard-pressed to think of a game since then that utilized it as well as this game did.
What about Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze?
Right. Well, it's also important to note that when you die in ZombiU, you are dead for good, and you instead become a different survivor. You maintain your progress in the story, but you are forced to go find your body, which has since turned into the undead, so you can kill it and reobtain your items.
This is a neat mechanic, as in most zombie games you die and you just respawn back at the last checkpoint. It's a nice change of pace to have to kill yourself, and I found it to be almost as if I was punishing past P1 for making a mistake that got his ass eaten.
Another interesting addition was stumbling upon one of your Miiverse friends in the form of a zombie, and taking them out to reap the benefits. Therapeutic, one might say.
We should probably talk a little bit about the different zombie types. As you well know, based on documented facts, there is more than just one type of biter. You have your generic zombie, someone that just wanders around listening for a meal. Then you have former SWAT zombies. These gents have the added bonus of wearing riot gear and a helmet, which you'll have to knock off if you want to get to those juicy brains. Next up, we have the Newman-killing spitter zombie. These guys inexplicably have the ability to spit acid halfway across the damn room. The acid distorts your vision, makes a sound like burning, and is a general pain in the ass. And lastly, there are zombies who explode, because why the not?
Well, not lastly, because you forgot the poltergeist zombies, which are probably the scariest in the game. These guys have the ability to disappear and reappear at random, and when you are in the vicinity of one, your prepper pad turns to static, and you have no way to track them. They show up in the darkest, scariest locations, and still haunt my nightmares to this day.
Would you say they were spliced into your dreams?
You're an idiot.
Okay. In all seriousness, this game does achieve a creepy vibe from time to time. The Z's can be seen swaying in the distance through the fog. You quickly become used to checking your radar, so when it's down, it makes for tense moments. And the nursery. Sweet baby Jesus, don't go into the nursery.
You do make a great point, though, about how the game has a creepy vibe. In fact, the overall atmosphere in the game is tense right from the get-go, and a large part of that is due to your surroundings. So let's talk a bit about how the game looks.
The city does a good job of actually capturing London. Neither of us have ever been there, but it matches up pretty well with all of the movies we've seen that are set there.
Yeah, I remember seeing it in 28 Days Later, 28 Weeks Later, Bridget Jones's Diary.
Exactly. Now, while not being a graphical powerhouse, Ubisoft made very good use of lighting, fog, and other filters to make the most of the system's abilities.
That's right, and every zombie is detailed perfectly, and you'll constantly be on your toes avoiding being devoured because they really do manage to capture the look of desperation in their cold, dead eyes.
Although, by the end, you'll find yourself familiar with all of the varying palette swaps on the Z's.
That's true. Now, while the graphics are horrifying all by themselves, no atmosphere can truly be creepy without some creepy sounds. So let's get into the sound department.
Ubisoft did a good job of not driving eerie music down our throats throughout this game. In fact, most of the background music is non-existent, and you'll be swaying to the tunes of zombies grunting, crows crowing, and cricket bats, batting.
Sounds good to me. In fact, that pretty much sums it up. So, shall we tell the people what we thought overall?
With a creepy atmosphere and easy to pick up controls, I found ZombiU to be a good title to have in the early dark days of the Wii U. It has a fun multiplayer mode where you have to capture the flag with one person controlling an army of Z's via the gamepad, and a second player acting as a lone survivor on the big screen. Is it a powerhouse AAA title that you must have? No, but if you're looking for something a little more adult on the Wii U, it's a good addition.
Now, after we broke everything down, I definitely think that this game came out at the right time for gamers, but the wrong time for Wii U gamers. I'm not 100% convinced that the core audience who would be picking up a Wii U on launch day would be interested in a title such as this. And I think that this is the reason that ZombiU sadly fell to the wayside. It's a first-person game that took the path less traveled, and that sadly doesn't sell. But if you're a fan of BioShock, Half-Life, or any other good story-driven first-person game, then you might want to give this one a look.
Special thanks to Tubby Mora of the Encyclopediacs for requesting this review. It was one we'd been planning for a while and just needed that bite in the ass to get it going.
So, thanks to all of you for watching. Please like, comment, and if you haven't already, subscribe. So don't forget to check out this video's Mystery Clubber, and we'll see you next time.